Welcome to the Kynective Media Podcast, and I'm your host, Jules Nadalin. The art world can feel intimidating. White walls, unspoken rules, and hefty price tags. What if it wasn't that exclusive? What if it was about the emotional connection and the experience to art? Today, I'm joined by Jelena Jankovic, someone who's changing the experience of buying art, who's an art advisor, curator, and someone who really cares about how you experience it. Jelena, I'm excited this conversation because I think your work is really going to change the way we traditionally see the art world. So welcome to the Kynective Media Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's start in the beginning. You spent years in the traditional art and gallery world. Can you walk us through your professional journey?
Yeah, I studied art history, and I was very fortunate right out of school to get gallery work and start working within the field. I managed a photography gallery. I did a lot of community work in community exhibitions as well. And eventually I started working in emerging art galleries. I was in that area for quite some time. And from there, I shifted into international galleries. So I managed and directed a couple international galleries. And yeah, I've had about a decade or more now at this point of experience within the art world and within the gallery sphere.
Congratulations. What did you love about working in the galleries?
I really so many different things. I loved at the beginning of every new role being able to go through the stack and being able to see all of these amazing artworks and these amazing artists that I had some closer connectivity to now. I loved working with clients. It's such a personal thing to work with someone to find artwork for them because artwork is very personal. A lot of the pieces that I would sell, people always had some sort of emotional connection to it at some point or somehow. And so you get to really know people on a different level and you get to really dive into their lives and become sort of an intimate part of that with them. So that was really lovely to build relationships with my clients and also with artists. It was so nice to be able to get down and deep with artists and, talk about what works, talk about what doesn't work, trade information and ideas and, just even hear little anecdotes from them. Those I would use later for sales techniques too. So
do you have any examples of those anecdotes you could share with us?
Just so many. A lot of kind of personal things. There's one artist that's one of my favorite artists, Michael Harrington. He has pretty much a story behind every single artwork that he creates. And so I listened to him for hours talk about, okay, tell me now about this piece. Okay, well, this piece, we literally just saw two men dressed exactly in these like silk suits. And so it seems so outrageous, but in the painting, you're like, oh, what a quirky scene. And he's like, no, this is actually a scene I saw. So, there's so many things. It's hard to think of them all at the top of my head, but hearing from artists directly really gives you a different insight to the artwork.
Absolutely. It's like it's a premiere or limited edition insight, special
exactly
information that you can share with your audience, the people that you're working with. What felt limiting or broken for you in that space in the galleries?
I think it's limiting in the sense that it's very small world in Toronto specifically. It's a small, tight community. And so with that, the gallery spaces are small in the amount of people that work there and the amount of people that we have basically. So that can sort of limit the diversity, limit opinions. That can be harder for making sure that we get enough optimization and in different thoughts and views and things like that within the field and within the company. It's also tricky to really have to be so specific to the inventory in the gallery that you are working at.
Right.
You have a client come in and say, oh, I'm really looking for this specific thing. And it could be really hard for me to give that to them based off of the artists that we represent. So that's also a limitation that I've come across. But you find ways to make it work, but sometimes it gets a little tricky with that too.
And at some point you made the leap of becoming independent because you're independent now. And what drove you to that decision?
one of the things that I just mentioned, having a limited inventory, I guess I'll say, of the artwork. So, going independent and art advising on my own, I now have accessibility to every and any art gallery in the world to provide for my clients and to make sure that I'm 100% giving them exactly what they want. And it provides more of a reach for sure. And then the second reason for that too is that I was really wanting a deeper connection in my own way with, again, artists and clients. I find, like I said before, I really like to get personal. I really like to be intimate and work for long periods of time with my clients. A lot of my clients I've had over long terms. And so I like having that freedom and that availability to kind of stretch every project and every job as much as I feel like I need to be there for them.
That's great. So you have no geographical boundaries.
No. I mean, of course, I know the Toronto art world really well. I've worked here. Of course, I have an edge here in the emerging artists for sure. But in terms of international artists and international galleries and fairs, it's, the world is your oyster at that point.
Are you challenging out any of the norms in your society by going independent?
The one thing that I would say that I might be sort of doing a little bit differently than typical art advisors is that I do advise collectors and artists alike.
Okay.
Usually you'll see kind of one or the other. And also the way that I am advising artists is really based off of my experience in the art gallery. So I'm sort of breaking that wall. Sometimes our field can be a little bit seen as pretentious, and sometimes it can be a little gatekeeping. And so I really wanted to make sure that all of the things that I've learned, that I can express that, and I can help other artists build their careers off of those little secrets that I know from the gallery world.
I think you're slightly a mind reader, because I was going to ask you, it was top of mind. And my next question was that there's a widespread belief that, art is really expensive, that you can't afford art, that it's thousands of dollars. Is there real value? And then just the stigmatism of like, can I actually go into that gallery?
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that, since you read my mind?
Yeah. I get it. It can be intimidating, especially like white wall galleries. You see it's so clean in there. Everyone is, dressed in their artsy ways and hard at work. And so I can see how if you don't feel that you have some sort of knowledge of art, that you would feel not welcome in those spaces. But every single gallery that I've worked at, we welcome that. And if you happen to feel an unease, then it's probably not the right gallery. And it shouldn't happen. Like we all really want to be open and get everyone to learn more about art. So I always just encourage everyone to just walk in. I've had so many clients even go, look, I'm sort of looking for, but I don't know anything. I don't know anything about art. I'm like, that's okay. I studied it. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's your job, is to educate.
Exactly. Like, I'm going to tell you the information that you don't know. The only thing you have to know is like what speaks to you and what you like. And that's the most important thing for you, for purchasers and clients and collectors to pay attention to. In terms of the possibly intimidating price structure, it's so variant. There's so many different areas you can go to find inexpensive emerging art. And then there's so many places you can go and find, high-end, expensive investment art, which is art that you want the money to grow and to be an investment, basically. But there's so many options for both. You really do not have to be spending thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands to get beautiful art for your home and to find that enjoyment. If you're capable of doing that, definitely do that. And then you can still get an investment while enjoying the beautiful art in your home. If you're not, I'm not in that position to be spending tens of thousands of dollars of art. I can tell you who to get it and where to get it.
Okay.
But it's still worth enjoying art and finding the beauty that connects with you. And there's so many areas to still find that without feeling like you're breaking the bank.
If we broke down those barriers and those barriers disappeared, and those fears of not being worthy, so to speak. I had a Wayne's World moment in my head there. I'm not worthy. What would the artwork will look like? What could you sort of, if you could project a future, if you had a crystal ball?
I think the galleries would be a lot more filled with just enjoyment, like people just coming to enjoy the art. And I think eventually that would lead to probably more sales because people would see that, oh, maybe I could afford this and I didn't think I could. Or, no, I definitely can't now, but 10 years later, you remember that gallery that you really, really enjoyed and, oh, I can afford it now. I think it would open a lot of doors. And again, art just connects people in such a beautiful way. I've had a lot of really like intimate moments with clients and with colleagues and with artists because it makes you vulnerable in a sense and it really opens you up. And so it builds such a beautiful community. Our artists in Toronto have such an amazing community and support for one another. International artists too, once they meet each other and get to know each other, like it just builds a really beautiful community and relationship between people. So I just think it would, not to sound in a pageant moment, but I think it would make the world a better place.
I love that. Let's make it a better place. Let's make it all inclusive.
Yeah.
I know I have my favorite local artist, and I know it influences other people because they come into my home and they're like, oh, what's that? And the next thing I know, I'm connecting them to that artist through word of mouth. Can you maybe describe someone who isn't part of the artist community in the city and what that looks like, what that means if you're an artist looking to maybe break into the industry, like a new and emerging artist?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways in the city to kind of get involved. There's really a lot of good organizations that support emerging artists. And we have so many great art fairs in Toronto too that are, again, through the varying levels of emerging artists and then already kind of established or represented artists. We have a lot of those in Toronto and they're great and there's a huge support behind it. So I think really doing like research, I sound like a broken record. This is what I say all the time to my artists that I work with, research. And you will find so many galleries and fairs and communities that offer a lot of support and a lot of programs that could help you as well. Another aspect is reach out to someone like me, who is an art advisor who can assist you along that road. And another thing is just really making sure that you're going to the galleries in your community and the surrounding communities. So I will say that too, if you live outside of the city, I think it is important to try and come down to the city fairly often because I know that the art world gets smaller when you leave a major city, right? And so in order to make sure that you see that diversity and that change and the movement in the art world, definitely kind of immerse yourself in that hub of and go to gallery shows and go to openings and go to exhibitions and be aware of what's happening around you.
I know pre-COVID, there were the gallery tours, specifically in the West Queen West neighborhood that I still live in. And that was just literally a group where you walked on I think it was a Thursday night, if I remember correctly, and you just went from gallery to gallery, and it was like it was an event that happened on a regular basis. It was free. Do you know off the top of your head if there's anything that does happen like that in our city currently?
Honestly, most BIAs do host something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't give you the times and dates. I have hosted a ton of them at my galleries that I've worked at. We've always, a couple times a year, we've had groups come in from those gallery tours, and those are through the BIAs. I am going to be doing one in the fall with the BIA, but I think it's kind of like more of a closed tour for a particular event.
Okay.
But I know that there's literally any neighborhood that you're in, just again, it's the research because there's so many options. Like there really are. It would help if we had a lot more marketing for the art world in our city and
awareness
general.
Outside of the BIAs. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But for now, that's sort of the place to start, is just sort of digging in the BIAs, I think.
Okay. Are there
But I
certain...
will also say, sorry to
Okay.
interrupt you, but
No,
I
no,
will
interrupt
also
away.
say that even any gallery you go to, they will give you a tour of their gallery.
Right.
Like if you walk in and go, "Hey, I'm new. I've never been to your gallery. I would really love to get to know your artist. Would you be willing to give me a tour?" 100%. They all would and should. So that's even another way to get another free visit and to
Mhm.
learn more about the artists in these particular galleries. They will do that for you even there.
Are there hubs in the city that are like centralized for galleries? Like at one point, Queen West, just past Shaw, used to have a ton of galleries, and we're seeing less of them. Like the Stephen Bulger Gallery moved out of that neighborhood.
Yeah.
I think it's now the Cozy Shop or something. Are there certain areas that you would recommend for people who wanted to just do a walk and pop into galleries and experience it in our city? I mean, I know that's a hard
It's so
question.
hard. Yeah, it's really spread out. I mean, Yorkville has a lot
Yep.
of galleries that are like Canadian specific galleries or international galleries, or just even some historical galleries there too, in terms of like historical art and Group of Seven type of pieces that you could even find. And then there's north of the city, like the Design District will
Okay.
have some, they're starting to build their galleries there too. Like Bougie just moved, I don't think right in the Design District, but a bit north on DuPont. I'm mixing up my areas.
Yep.
Luster Gallery is going to be coming to Toronto in the same sort of area in the Design District. There used to be, and even across from the AGO, actually, there's quite a few there. And then around the AGO, there's OCAD. They're going to have their own gallery as well. So there's little pockets.
Okay.
So if you're looking to do kind of tours, I would pick one pocket a day and sort of wander around there. But if you don't have a car, it's hard to go. I mean,
Right.
you can, but our slow TTC might take you a while to go from one end to the other.
Definitely. You lightly touched upon investment pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to maybe explain the difference for people who maybe don't know the difference between just the regular art that I have on my walls that hopefully one day will turn into an investment piece?
Yeah, that's the hope for all of them.
And yeah, the hopes for all of them. And what a real true investment piece is and what the process is of maybe purchasing one of those and working with someone like you.
Yeah. So there's sort of a couple of levels that we think of in the art world. There's emerging, which is you're a fairly new artist that is still developing their CV, still, looking for representation, or only has maybe one local gallery's representation. And that is totally wonderful. And some artists even just choose to stay local. And they're like, I have my community here and I can grow here. And that's phenomenal. Then there's sort of the mid area where you have bumped into the international galleries, but because you're still currently producing and you have multiple areas of representation, you're not necessarily considered investment yet, but have the potential to be. And that's going to be like over time, with growth of your artwork and your representation and things like that. And then we have, the investment art piece that are sort of almost guaranteed. Nothing is always guaranteed. It's kind of like playing the stock market, but these are artists that have definitely international representation that you've seen in auctions, that you've seen in reselling. So that way you already kind of see a track of repurchases and things like that. So those are going to be, Warhol, Basquiat, KAWS, and of course the Grams of the Picassos and the et ceteras. So there's a whole scale of art that you can move through. The investment art is wonderful if you're able to access it, because you have these two beautiful points of being able to access art. You have it for enjoyment, and then you also have it for the financial aspects of it. And some people don't think about that at all. Some people go, I don't care. I'm not looking to resell it. I'm not looking to make an investment. I love it and I want it. That's totally fine. And then some people are on the other end of it. I just want to flip it. I just want an investment.
Have you sold any amazing investment pieces?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, working at international galleries, I've had that experience, and it's been so wonderful. When you sell your first Basquiat or Warhol, it's kind of surreal. It's wild. It's still wild, but
You're still kind of like, did I do that?
Yeah, because there's so much more that goes into it that until you do it, you don't think about. There's just so much more information to be received from an investment piece like that, and especially one that has been sold and resold. You have to know the provenance, so where it's come from and where it was purchased and the whole lifeline story of it, and make sure the condition is great and all of these sorts of things, and make sure that it has all of those markings of a real authentic piece, that it's not forged or anything like that. So it's very interesting to do that.
Is that process like a longer purchase cycle?
Yeah, I would say definitely, because there's just so much more information there, and it's also so much more money. So it's rarely a quick decision. It's more intensive, and it takes time, and you also have to sort of search the market, because at this point, especially with something like Warhol, where they're prints, there's a lot of them out there, so you can search of what's available, and then you go, oh, this is a great price, but why is this such a great price? Okay, it's damaged, or oh, it doesn't actually have the signature, or whichever, So those are areas where it's really, really smart to be working with an advisor, or to definitely have someone you trust within this world that can steer you the right way. There has been a lot of instances in our art world of people selling fakes, and it still happens. So
wow.
I don't want to, none that I have experienced in the city, more so globally and internationally. But it's something you want to be cautious with, and definitely know you're speaking to a professional that has handled that before,
or has a previous relationship with maybe the person representing the sale. Because I'm assuming that if you're buying a large piece like that, you're working with another gallery or an individual that is reputable. It's not like putting it on Marketplace.
Well, it's interesting, because there are actually a lot of times where individual clients will just come to me and go, I want to sell my piece.
Okay.
So that does happen as well, from just individuals that are like, I'm ready to sell my investment piece.
Okay.
So it does come from so many different avenues, galleries, individual art advisors, and then just clients themselves and purchasers themselves. So it's very important. And you will see, honestly, even things on eBay. And some of it is legitimate, and a lot of it is not. So it's very specific to know what you're looking for. Yeah. And
another great reason to work with someone like yourself, who can sort of navigate and advise and spot and say, no, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah. And knowing the terminology too, even like condition, they'll write good. And to a person that's not aware, you go, oh, it's good. But then there's very good, and then there's excellent.
Right.
So when you look at good, it's actually probably somewhere in the middle, and there's probably some sort of damage there, but it's passable, or maybe it's not. It's very particular terminology sometimes too that can easily trip up a collector if they don't know what they're looking for. Some collectors do. Some collectors are phenomenal, and they're like, I know the art world in and out, and that's phenomenal. And then if you don't, call someone like me.
Right. Can we talk a little bit about corporate art? Because I know that's one of the services you provide, as well as investment pieces and private purchases.
Yes. Yeah. I love working with corporate spaces and in corporate environments. It's such a blank canvas, and it really adds value to your workspace, because we spend so much time at work too. I like working with the company, and it's so nice to hear from different areas of the company, from the CEOs to the assistants to, every working bee love comes in and has comments on the artwork that we bring in. And I love doing those kinds of big projects, because there's so many different spaces to find for. There's the lobbies, and there's the office spaces, and there's the common areas. So it's a big thing. It's definitely a big area of need for artwork, I find.
So they would reach out to you. There's a consulting process. You walk the space. You sort of define where what the needs are, and then you get to go shopping?
Yeah. And I mean, that's sort of the process with everyone and with any client. I will go and do home visits as well. So, site visits is what we'll call them, where I definitely like to see the space. I do the measurements. I get a feel for the space itself, but also for what the client is looking for. And then I can do digital placements where you're sort of digitally seeing how artworks might look in your space, the photos that I take. So there's a process through it all. And with corporate, I do that exact same thing too, where I come to your office, I speak to who I need to speak to, talk about budget and what we're looking for, and be aware of all the spaces you're looking to fill. And then we bring in a whole truckload of artwork and try it all.
And is there a certain time, like, do you see a trend of when people are reaching out to you, or, is it like when people buy a new home? That's the first thing I think of. They've bought a new home and they're excited and they want to, decorate. They're starting, it's a clean slate. That's probably one of the more common times they would reach out to you. Or are there any other sort of patterns in your industry?
Yeah, even with the home buying, we're sort of like the last. Artwork is sort of the last thing. It's like furniture, tables, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Unless they're really heavy art enthusiasts and they're like, nope, this is our priority. But usually art kind of gets sticked on the end, which sucks a lot of the time because then the budget
it should be the first. You should have the art piece and then plan the furniture around the art piece. Let's reverse engineer that.
How people think about it, because in my mind, art is so much more important. I mean, of course I'm biased, but it's something that's so specific and it's something that's so personal, and like matching your artwork to your couch is so much harder than matching your couch to your artwork. And at least this way, you have an art piece that you love, and then you can just be like, oh, I can find a couch, no problem. It to me, it's just so much more important. But I find it usually happens the other way around. But definitely that time. And then in terms of times of the year, I would say spring and fall are kind of busiest in my field. It correlates with timing of year, right? I mean, after the holidays, we all quiet down, and then spring is when things start picking back up, and it's nicer weather, and there's more exhibitions, and there's more openings you can go to. And so it's kind of getting you into that gear again. Yeah. Summer is tricky because everyone's away. Right. People have their kids at home. I can't think about that.
Yeah, they're distracted.
Yeah. And then the fall, when the kids are gone, then it's time for the adults to play.
Yeah. It's adulting time. Let's do a gallery tour. Let's think about things to.
And there's also a lot of art fairs in the fall.
Is there? So they're mostly in the fall and spring?
Yeah, they go from it depends. Like all over the world, there's always art fairs. But when I think about the ones in Toronto, the big ones go kind of from the fall to the end of the year. But again, we also have a ton in the spring. So like it's both. That's why I say both of those are important and are kind of kicks in our fields. And then in terms of anything else, like personal wise, I think it's just when people are sort of in a new season of life and, this doesn't suit me anymore, and this isn't my taste anymore, and this isn't what speaks to me in the way that it used to in the past, and they need a refresh. So
so like milestones and changes in your life, marriage, end of marriage,
yes,
a children, lot of those too. Upsizing, downsizing, retail therapy.
Yes.
Can we tell people, if you're feeling a little blue and you need something special, go buy some art. Instead of going to buy some disposable fashion. I feel like this is definitely a human-centered experience. We keep talking about that emotional connection that you have with your clients and your artists, and I love that. Is there anything else that you want our listeners to walk away with, going back to maybe the feeling it's not for them, or, words of encouragement to start being more active in your community?
I think it's really just taking that step forward. It's really just going into that gallery, going to that art fair. And Listen, when I started in this world, I definitely felt that too. I was like, you get kind of imposter syndrome. You're like, oh my God, everyone here is so high end and chic and knowledgeable. I don't fit in here. But I had a coworker say to me, fake it till you make it. And it's really just walk in there, head held high, like you belong. And like you do. You do. Nobody does it. It's such an open, it should be such an open and welcoming space. Art is something that we've done throughout our entire civilization. And it's so important in our society and in our culture, and especially at times when we're going through difficult things in the world. And it brings us together. And so I think it's just find your own way to connect with it, and don't let anyone make you think that you don't belong in there for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
Even if you just want to go enjoy. It's really beautiful when you connect with someone that's just enjoying.
It's so accessible to like simple things. Like if you just want to start at the basic foundations, like go to the AGO. I think it's free on Wednesdays nights or something. And
is it Wednesday or Tuesday? One of the days.
I'm not sure. And their yearly membership is like $35 a year. And it gives you access to the exhibits on the top floor. One of my favorite galleries, which I really need to visit again as I'm saying this, is the Power Plant. It's still around, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And every year I want to go to the Power Plant Gala.
Yeah.
I want to dress up and go, and I'm not worthy. I can't go. So maybe this is the year. Maybe you and I can go. Me and you can go to the Power Plant Gala. Okay. Yes. We'll table that.
And even next to the Power Plant is Harbourfront Center.
Right.
And one of my favorite things, I have not only a lot of friends and colleagues in the art world that have come through the Harbourfront Center, but walking through that hallway where you can see all of them working through those glass windows, they are not shy to, like, if you want to go in and see, or you're just staring in the window, they're fine with that. It's very also a unique experience. And there's a lot of things that go on at Harbourfront Center too that are very like community based. And we have a lot of that in the city. It's just a matter of connecting to it. Yeah.
We need to start exploring our own cities. I know that every time I leave town, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this place and that place in the art world in, say, Montreal or New York City. And we never think that same way about our own city. And, I talked about this on another podcast about becoming a tourist in your own city, in your own neighborhood. So maybe that's a little bit of a takeaway we can leave our viewers and listeners with. If someone wanted to connect with you directly to continue this conversation, get advice, how could they reach you? And we're going to put this in the show notes. There's your website.
Yes. My website is jjartadvisor.com. My Instagram is jjartadvisor, JJ for my name, Jelena Jankovic. And my email is jelena@jjartadvisor.com. I'm keeping things simple.
All right. And are you on LinkedIn as well?
Yes. Jelena Jankovic at LinkedIn also. All
right. We'll make sure that
I'm happy to connect any which way.
Yep. So we'll make sure we put that in the notes and connect you with our viewers and our listeners and make sure that they can reach out to you. And thank you so much for your time and your insights today. And hopefully we've pushed that needle a little bit where we can encourage people to break the stereotypes and become more passionate and more involved in their community and introducing it into their homes.
I really hope so. And if you need any more questions for me, you know where to reach me. And thank you so much for having me, Jules.
This conversation really challenges the idea of who art is for, and I love that. So if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who maybe feels that art isn't accessible. Thanks for listening, and remember, keep staying connected and keep telling the stories that matter.